Well, hi and welcome to Action Coach. I'm Brad Sugars. I'm the chairman and founder here at Action Coach. More on me in just a little while. I want to thank you for coming along and listening in today and seeing a little bit about how we at Action Coach work with business owners and how this could be the right opportunity for you. You know, as a company, I think that 30 years in business doing what we do gives you a lot to find out about, but it also means that there's a rich history involved in doing what we do. So today I really want to look more at why we do what we do and who we are. I guess that's probably the simple thing, the who and the why of Action Coach. And, you know, as the chairman and founder of the company, I go back 30 years of running events, seminars, coaching, educating, teaching, writing books, you name it. I've been involved in it type thing. And so not only who is Action Coach, but I believe not only in that 30 years have we built the business, we've built the profession. And so I think it's really important to understand that. And that'll take us through, you know, what's our vision, what's our purpose, our mission. And really important to us here today is our culture document, because who we are as people is a very big part of what separates us from everyone else, I think. And so then looking at finally our care values and why that's important to you. It's as an outstanding marketplace definition of us as people. So to do that, I guess we're going to spend some time together here. And if you like what you see and you feel this could be for you, then there's a whole bunch of other programs, a whole bunch of other videos and tools for you to go and take a look at, for you to understand more about us so that you can make this decision about joining Action Coach and whether it's an investment you want to make and at what level you want to make that investment. You know, I go back to, you know, if I go back 30 years, I trained as an accountant, by the way, in college. And I left college after I went part-time at the end of college because I really wanted to work. And I started in sales, in advertising sales. I worked with a supermarket as an announcer. I worked as a DJ type things. I was running Pizza Huts during college to pay for things and make a few dollars and buy myself a car and all those sorts of things you do as a young man. But I was lucky enough to meet a mentor by the name of Paul Dunn, and I got to work with Paul and do sales with him. And we just had Paul speaking again at my 30th birthday, or the company's 30th birthday, not mine. That would be interesting. But what we realize, and Paul and I got to sit back and reminisce a little bit about over these 30 years at Action Coach, we've not just built a business. We've really had to create a profession. I remember reading Trouton Reese's book, 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, and one of them said, if you can't be number one or number two in a category, invent a new category. And that's where I invented business coaching. And for the first few years, I think it was it was interesting that people would ask me, what is business coaching? And, you know, today we sit here in 82 countries coaching business owners, offices all over, offices in basically all continents except for Antarctica, of course. But excuse me. It's really interesting to think that this all started because I sat down at one point and I wrote a vision for our company, and that is, and I'll explain it to you a little bit as to how it came about and why. I was reading a book at the time that talked about, you know, if you're going to build something great. If you're going to do something massive. And if you're going to do that, then you need a guiding light or a North Star. You need a vision, a 100-year goal, I think they termed it as, you know, the Japanese philosophy of a business. And so I sat down and started to think about what it is that I wanted this business to do and where I wanted it to go and where I believed we could go. And I knew once I wrote this that it was going to mean my biggest job was almost going to be recruiting people to help me with this vision. It was going to be finding people who are passionate about helping others grow and finding people probably a bit like you that see that if you help enough other people, you get rewarded massively. And that's where the whole idea of world abundance, I think abundance for me came from a book I was reading on economics, which talked about when I studied it in college, it was all about economics as the allocation of scarce resources. And what this book, Paul Zane Pilzer, was talking about was massively understanding that technology had a big influence on the economy, and technology could remove scarcity in many places, and that scarcity thinking often led to scarcity. And so I thought, what if I could create an abundant world? What if I could create a world where abundance was the norm? What if I could create a world where, people sat back and had plenty and did what they needed to do? And it was that sort of thinking. You see, I guess I was lucky. At age 16, I won the Rotary Youth Leadership Award. And I'm not sure if you've ever been involved in the Rotary Club or if you know anyone that has. But in our area, RYLA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Award, was a massively prestigious thing. And I won in our area. In fact, my best friend and I both won. We were on the debate team, and that's where the head of Rotary saw us at a debate tournament and invited us to apply. They sent us away for a week-long training on leadership, on success. We did Myers-Briggs type inventory at 16 years old. And so that led me on the journey, and it evolved. I guess it led me to meet Jim Rohn at 16 years of age, and it led me to study How to Win Friends and Influence People, and George S. Clason, and all of these classics on self-development, which obviously led to business development and wealth development and all of those different areas of learning and growth. And so what I realized after working with Paul was that I loved learning, and he was a great mentor to me. I helped him by make a lot of sales for him, but when I realized that business didn't just need education, it needed re-education. Educare, from the Latin, the root educare, meaning to draw out. And what I noticed was a lot of it wasn't drawing out, it was pummeling in, sort of thing. And so for business owners, we needed that education. But what I also realized is that as a business owner myself early on in my 20s, I didn't have time to go and do that. So this vision of what I wanted to create, and hopefully something you want to be a part of this world abundance through business re-education, through helping business people learn different ways of doing things, because unfortunately we weren't getting the results we wanted in a lot of businesses. And I was running photocopy shops, and a lot of my customers were failing, and it led me to have a passion for helping people. I wrote newsletters to help them grow their business and give them ideas and all of those sorts of things. But I guess the big shift came when early 1993, a gentleman named Robert Kiyosaki asked me to come and speak on business of what I was doing. I met Robert through a training program run by one of my other great mentors, Dame DC Cordova. And a couple of years ago, we had DC in Hawaii speaking to all of our action coaches, and it was a phenomenal full circle thing for me. But where that takes us then to is, if we help business owners, the way we help business owners is by actually saying, what is it that you want to create? And most of them want to create a business that is an investment. And that's why we use and I'll go more into this in other videos, but our definition of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And so by doing that, we give business owners back their life. We give them back their freedom. And I think that's a big part of our mission statement, is that we give people back their freedom through business. The freedom that owning their business took away from them in a lot of cases, because it made them work 12, 20, 40 hours. They're just crushing themselves to provide. It's not that they fail through lack of work, it's that they fail through lack of knowledge. And so that was a big part of it. So the 6 steps is how we grow their businesses. That framework is in my book, The Business Coach. So if you read that book, it takes you through that framework. And we'd already coached about 13,500 clients before I wrote that book. So the system was tried, true, and tested by the time we actually went through it. But this one was actually my first book, Instant Cash Flow. That one was the first one, and took a long time to write the first one. The rest of them have come a little faster now that I know how to do it. So then what we do is we flip it over, and then there's this one here, Billionaire in Training. That one goes through the ladder of how an owner grows. And so that 5 levels of entrepreneurship. So what we do in essence is we grow the business, we grow the owner, and through that we create a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. And we do that with our 4 care values, which I'll go into more detail in just a little while about those. And that's in essence what we're aiming to achieve with business people and not just business owners, because we go deeper into the organization. We help them with their salespeople. We help them with their marketing people. We get into the company and help them with their executives to grow that if they're that size company where they do have executives and those sorts of things. Talking about you just for a moment, if you're looking to become a firm owner with Action Coach, it's not just about you creating your wealth. It's not just about you creating your success and your income. You see, a big part of what makes you successful in our business, in what we do, is you've got to love helping other people. You've got to want to grow and learn because you are their coach and mentor, and the world doesn't stop. The business world doesn't stop growing. You've got to keep learning, keep growing in that. But as you build a community of business people, as you build a team that works with you, as you build that membership base in your marketplace, these people love learning. They love growing. Now, they don't always in the beginning. A lot of clients in the beginning, you ask them, what are you reading? And they're like, I don't really read that much. We instill in them the yearn to learn. That's one of the big things that we definitely do. So it also, as part of the passion for what we do, we run the YES program, which is the Young Entrepreneur Smart Start, as part of the Action Coach Foundation. And we run the Coaching for a Cause program, and that's where we coach nonprofits and charities, and we do that for free. We educate and coach nonprofits and charities so that they can learn and grow too, because I think that's a big part of the community aspect of what we do. It's not just building an internal community, it's being a part of the greater community that you represent. I think you'll probably agree with me that great businesses are businesses that are more mission and vision oriented than just profit oriented. And I think that's a big part of who we are as a company and why we do what we do. I get probably as much or maybe more enjoyment out of standing up and teaching a group of teenagers about what's possible for them about being entrepreneurs than I do about taking a group of business people and teaching them how to get some freedom from their business. But if you look at our community, I think I always say to people, there's 3 main intangible benefits that you'll get by being a part of Action Coach. The number 1 intangible is the team. You can't buy this team, but you can earn your way into this team. You can qualify to join this team. I think that's probably the simplest way to put it. We have a lot of people and I guess the reason we're number 1 is that we keep recruiting number 1s. There's no simple way to put that. And that's why we put a lot of time and energy into our recruitment and informing you of who we are, why we do what we do, and how the business works, and how the marketing works, and how the sales works, how the coaching works. All of these things are on other videos. But by giving you that knowledge, we give you the ability to bring your spouse along or your partner along on this journey with you. Any family members that you think need to learn about this stuff, we ask you to have them join you because their support will be a big part of it. In fact, even some of your senior team members, we want them to watch some of these videos too so that they get to see it. But our community is, and the reason I say it's the number 1 intangible is because you're joining a group of people whose natural desire in life is to help others. The same way we're looking for you to be someone who wants to help others and therefore be massively rewarded yourself. We love the fact that everyone in our organization is willing and desirous of helping each other. So it's a big part of our community. We do have a lot of fun. Obviously I'm Australian originally, married an American gal, so live over here nowadays, and 5 kids. So 2 born in Aussie and 3 born here in the States. So I'm definitely an Auss-American these days, but the fun side of the Australian in me has never left. So our conferences and our get-togethers are always enjoyable, that's for sure. And you'll notice it as one of our 14 points of culture is exactly that. So the profession itself, When you look at this profession and the growth rate of business coaching, executive coaching, the coaching profession overall, its growth rate has been phenomenal. And since 2019, the numbers have proven that growth rate of the entire profession of being almost 7% per year, which, we're very excited about that. And hopefully you are too. But part of that growth is because of, I think people finally are getting used to it. When I first started, people asked, what is coaching? Then it was like, oh, yeah, you get a coach if you're failing. And like we even saw big companies do that. Where if someone in the organization needed to be fired, they'd get them a coach just to say, yeah, we covered all bases. We even had them coach sort of thing. And that was a big part of it. But our goal is to be 3 billion of that entire journey, so that by 2030 we are still the number one dominant player, but we improve our market position. So not only does the size of the market grow and the size of the profession grow, but we improve our dominance across that. And that's why having you join us is probably a big part of that, because the more number ones we get, obviously the more we can dominate and the more we can go out there and help more business owners create what they want. Because I'll always keep coming back to that vision. Anytime that we need to make a major decision, does it get us closer to world abundance through business re-education? And then second of all, our mission, even though I've got it up here on the screen, I beg of you to dive on the website, take a look at it on actioncoach.com. But if I go through just a few of these points of what's important to me and how, because really the mission is the roadmap to the vision. If I think of it that way, it describes who are we, who are our customers, what business are we in, what products and services do we take to the market. Those four things, and what makes us unique, I guess, a big part of it. But if you look at that last line, we give people back their spirit and freedom through business development. Growing a business or becoming a CEO or becoming a better marketer or growing yourself in your career, all of these things often are seen as separate to the life of the person. And we really take a more holistic viewpoint where we say that, how can we give people back their spirit and freedom and drive and desire that was taken away from them. And, we started our business just one-to-one coaching with just business owners. That's where we started this whole thing. And I saw more business owners struggling with life because of the pressures of their business, not seeing their kids sporting events, never getting vacations, and their business ran them. They didn't run their business. And that was one of my big driving factors in the beginning of noticing how many businesses would go bankrupt. And it was like, that's just not okay with me. If I can save another one, I'll save another one, sort of thing. And so that really became a part of my mission. And with that, in 1993, I wrote out 12 points of culture. And then just on 10 years ago now, I added 2 new ones to that, being that of gratitude and that of abundance. And these are really our internal methodologies of discussing who we are. So commitment, our commitment to ourselves, our customers. And again, if you dive on the website, you can take a look at all of the languaging of this, because it really declares who we are as people. I am a committed. It dives into how we feel about the day-to-day of being a great business coach and being out there in the marketplace and representing this organization that we represent. And I think that's all 14 of these points are a big part of who we strive to be every day. And now, I'm not saying that we're perfect on this thing, because guaranteed we are human and we make mistakes. I know that there's times when the point number 2, taking ownership there, about how to play above that point. And there's days when I feel like blaming other people, and there's probably days when I come up with excuses for not getting stuff done. But this is the ideal world that we want to live in. And now point on communication and simple things like I will apologize for an upset first and then look for a solution. It's not complex, but it is really important in an organization of people. a firm believer, if you build the people, they build the company. And so every day is about building up people. Every day is about how do you get people to be feeling better about themselves, doing a great job, and being acknowledged for doing that great job. Success is definitely one of our 14 points of culture. We are not shy about it. We are happy to achieve success. We give a lot of awards for it. In fact, years ago, I started the BizX program, and if you haven't looked up BizX, it started as the Business Excellence Forum, and obviously with branding, it got down to the BizX. But those awards, giving awards to business owners, because business owners don't get awards. They don't get recognized for the great work they do. And we started that program to say, you know what, I want to recognize people for doing great things as owners of businesses. And so now we do that globally and do that. Balance, fun, as I mentioned, systems. Oh my gosh, systems. If you ever come into our organization and you get into the training, you will hear this statement a lot: follow the system. And we're very clear around systems here that systems should run a company and people should run the systems. But where in our business, one of the great things is we want you to be as creative and thinking as possible. We need your brain and we need your experience in coaching those business owners. But to run your business, we need your team to follow the system. Running the business is one thing. Following the system of coaching is one thing, where you have to use that experience and all the training we give you and everything you learn from your clients, from your prospects, and from your entire life in business really has to get into that coaching of those clients and the educating of those members to make sure they achieve the results that they want to achieve. Consistency, you know how important that is, especially if you want referrals in business. You've got to be consistent in the fact that someone's comfortable to give you a referral because they know that they're referring their friend to something that works and will get the results. I added gratitude and abundance about 10 years ago now, and it was really important to me to make that shift or add these things to it, because what I noticed around the world, firstly, the world's changed. Over 30 years of running our business has changed. 30 years ago, we didn't have Fiverr and these ways of people running work from home businesses. We didn't have the virtualness of business. Most businesses were an office or a shop and people went there, sort of thing. These things have changed dramatically in 30 years. The culture of the world has shifted over 30 years. The change in franchising over 30 years. Just the changes in economies over those times has to be done. And I felt at the time that we needed to move with the world, where being okay with being abundant, being proud of being abundant in our life, and abundance for ourselves and abundance for those. It's not just about giving, it's also about receiving. But that philanthropic nature of what we did, and it's one of the big reasons we started the foundation to educate and give away knowledge and coaching those charities. We've found over the years that by coaching them, we get a lot more benefit, or they get a lot more benefit, should I say, than they would if we just gave them money. So that long-term change and growth in some of these charities has been phenomenal. But I'll go back to our care values. In 2021, we decided to make sure that the market knew what our values were and how they worked together. So we went to the CARE program, and especially with our membership philosophy. We as a company have an amazing score when it comes to Net Promoter Score. We're very lucky that our clients love us. And one of the reasons for membership is it allowed our clients to give us a lot more referrals. When we do one-on-one coaching, it's kind of weird, but they love us. They give us a 10 out of 10 on referral and that, but some of them are scared to invite their friends because it's like, I'm telling you need it's like the old psychiatrist thing. I'm telling you need a psychiatrist if I tell you need a business coach, or admitting to having a coach was saying like I had that. And I know that is shifting, but it's not shifted yet. And a big part of our membership program is so that people would feel comfortable introducing others to the community. And that community aspect is really important of growing allowing our customer base to grow the community, allowing them to be in charge of who else joins, and allowing them to, hey, I'm part of this group and I think you'd really benefit if you joined us too. And that's a real powerful part of what we do, hence our community awards with our customers and members. Accountability. And whether the accountability is with their coach, or whether the accountability is with their mastermind group, or whether the accountability is with another client, or whether the accountability is self-accountability on education, or whether the accountability is a computer system that reminds them of the video they need to watch. Accountability is a big part of why success happens with coaching. It really is. If I go back to the 3 intangibles, I mentioned the first one, and that first one being that there is a community of people. The second one being that the place you hold in your community, the leadership position you gain. I mentioned the word, well, when our clients come to our awards programs, it's often we hear them saying things when they get up on stage winning their awards that, I love my coach. And I joke with some of my buddies who are accountants that, I never hear any of your clients saying, I love my accountant. Sort of thing. But the level of position you will find and the level of kudos that you will get in your community as a leader of the business community, as a coach, is quite phenomenal. And I think that's something that people don't recognize until they've been in with us a few years, sort of thing. They start to realize just what position the community has. But I bring that back to the accountability part because people see you as their accountability partner. They see this community and this group as a group of people who are willing to hold each other accountable, but be held accountable to achieving the results. Because I sort of joke about it in seminars that if you're the owner and the CEO of the business, you're doing a bad job at both, because who's holding who accountable, sort of thing. It's why people get personal trainers for fitness is a big part of that. Third, the results. I'll come back to that. But fourth is education. If I had been able to spell the word a different way, I would have. But the education is a massive part of what works for us. An educated client is an easy client. Someone who's watching the videos, listening to the podcasts, reading the books, whether it's my books, other books, it doesn't matter. If they're learning and growing, they're easy to coach. And so we must have that education, and that's why we run education programs and events locally. It's why we run them online. It's why we continuously make sure that our customer base, our members and our clients have got new education coming in, because new ideas, then they're easy to coach and easy to make sure that they're moving. But it also means they're getting the results. So if you add those things of community, accountability, and education, that's where results come from. Now, we do demand the results by measuring the results and knowing the results. Just our initial 12-week program with business owners, we tell them very clearly up front, your job in the next 12 weeks is to increase your revenue by 10% per week. Okay, so to have a 10% increase on weekly revenue, if you're doing $2,000 per day, $10,000 a week right now, we want you doing $12,000 a week, or you can do it monthly depending upon the business and its time frame. We tell them that we need them by 12 weeks to find 4 hours in their week where they can start working on it, not in it. And so we're very clear that we ask our business clients, our business owners, our members to get results. I guess you could say we demand it of them. We are their coach. We want personal bests. We don't want them to just be out here learning for the sake of learning, or in a community for the sake of being in a community. We want results. And I think a big part of that demanding results is really about making sure that they know they'll get recognized for it and that they get rewarded for it. Every month, every quarter, we give awards and we acknowledge people who've grown their business and who've done great things. When you stand up for the first time and get the results award for, achieving your PIN, for actually doing the work that you'd love anyway, it's like getting acknowledged for making more profits seems crazy. But trust me, if you want to build community, you got to acknowledge people for the work they do and the results that they're getting out there in the marketplace. Now, in 2008, myself and a group of coaches and partners got together and we sat down and said, what is it where do we want to go? And we bounced around a whole lot of things from, talking about McDonald's and Microsoft and all of these great companies. And we sat down and said, you know what? We want to be in 120 countries. And we're like, why do we want to be in 120 countries? And we said, because McDonald's is in 119. So, let's beat McDonald's on that front. And Bill Gates once said it, a computer on every desk. And we're like, well, how do we get a coach in every business? It's going to take a lot of digital stuff, and it's going to take books, and it's going to take education materials to get our coaches into every single business in the world. But we believe that somewhere in our lifetime, we may get there. If we're going to achieve world abundance through business re-education, maybe we can get a business coach into every coach in the world, or an action coach in every business. Just a little bit on our history. I want to take you back a little ways. Obviously, we're a 30-year-old company. We started in Australia, Brisbane, Australia. I started this thing out of a spare bedroom. And we moved then to a little place on Coronation Drive, which is the middle of the city, a beautiful riverfront, massive office tower. When I say a little place, it was massive. But I knew we'd grow into it. And within 2 years, we actually had to take another floor to keep growing and doing what we did. But what started as my dream of just educating, because when Robert Kiyosaki asked me to go on stage teaching business at his business school for entrepreneurs in Hawaii, I didn't realize just how much I would love teaching. And it's really interesting how many of my partners, being franchise partners around the world, also love teaching. And many of them didn't start out that way. Many of them were like, I don't ever want to be on stage. Once I got them up there, it's like, can't get them off stage type thing. It's they love the teaching factor. But as we opened up the business through Australia, through New Zealand, and then we realized when we went to Asia that we needed to move to franchising. Now, at the time, there was no real white-collar franchising. If you wanted to franchise back then, it was a cleaning franchise or a food franchise in some way, shape, or form. White-collar didn't really exist, and so we had to invent it. And it's been, obviously copied a lot now, and we see a lot of people out there using different methodologies. But we went the franchise route because we really believed that having an owner local, having someone on the ground local that actually had accountability and responsibility to the customer. In the beginning, I also did believe, and mistakenly now I realize, that the coach needed to be the owner, because, an owner only wanted another owner coaching them. Now, when we look at our annual awards and we see that the award winners for best client results are generally not the coach that owns the business. They're generally one of the coaches in the business that works for the firm. And we start to see that coaching capability doesn't necessarily mean you need to be the owner. But from there, we started to grow pretty rapidly. We opened through Singapore, Malaysia. Indonesia was a very solid business for us and still is to this day. And then we started opening the U.S. I moved across to California and was there for a couple of years, and then moved the head office to Las Vegas as a home base. And now my family lives here. From 2005, I actually moved the family here. We moved the business here back in 98. Came to America 2 years later, so almost 2000. We moved it to Las Vegas, Nevada. For the conventions, basically. I was speaking at a lot of events and running events, so it made sense to be here. And so we built the business from there. We then moved to Europe, we opened Canada, we opened Mexico, then we moved to Europe, opening the UK first and spreading across Europe. And these days, having coaches, and I always say I'm very proud of the fact we have coaches in China and Russia and Vietnam, in communist countries, teaching entrepreneurialism. And I think that's a great thing. But hopefully our history 10, 20 years from now will include the story of you and what you've done and who you've been able to help and how you've been able to grow your business and learn and grow with us. And I want to add one thing to that. As you get to speak to some of my franchise partners around the world, or if you get on one of our panels with the franchise partners, I want you to ask them about their family and what's happened with their family, especially those who've had kids. And given that I've been doing this for 30 years, some of my team have had their kids grow up with me. They've learned all the things, and now they're entrepreneurs in their own right because of what they got to learn by being a part of this. And I see that freedom and all those things as a very big, just a massive part of the success. I think if I go back to the third of the intangibles, it's who you become and what you learn by being a part of this organization is phenomenal. When you start understanding just how much you'll learn from your customers, from each other, from the community of coaches, that just blows my mind about where we're going. So let's talk a little bit about the future of the organization and where it's going. Action Coach has to evolve like any business. Action Coach has to continually grow like any business. We've seen Apple do it. We see Disney do it. We see all these major companies doing it. But somewhere between every 5 to 7 years, there needs to be a fairly big shift in what you do. And some of those shifts over the years have been in our programs, going from one-to-one programs to group programs. And as we move into this next phase of coaching and education-led business, if you look at our care philosophy of who do we offer coaching to? Do we only offer it to small business owners? Well, several years ago, we started our executive coaching program. In fact, 10, 12 years ago, we started our executive coaching program. Now we have more than 70% of our partners worldwide certified in executive coaching, and we're bringing forth many more certifications in sales coaching, marketing coaching, CEO coaching. All of these certifications that are coming between now and 2030 are going to be very important to expanding the offer base, not just working with just the owner, but working through their organization. And sometimes that'll mean we start with the salespeople and work up to the C-level executives or the owner of the business. And sometimes it'll mean starting with the owner and working your way through the company type thing. But it gives us a lot more doors to open, a lot more revenue streams, and a different way of looking at it. The education side of what we do, if we look into our 12-week education programs, what we found over the years is that learning in a 2-day environment is fairly useless. Learning without some form of coaching, without some form of accountability doesn't really work. So we do a lot of our education, like our sales 12-week program. I'm sure one of the team can show you a little bit of that. But what it does is I educate the end user on video, and then your team member or you can facilitate for an hour a week that learning so that you can take someone through a 12-week education program. One of the great things is over those 12 weeks, they're applying what they're learning and they're getting results. And so by the end of the 12 weeks, they feel so good about the program because they know, hey, I started here, and this is where we survey at the beginning, survey in the middle, survey at the end, and see what result and effect of that. So I think some of these things are pretty massive. The R&D team here, Nick Clark, his team, the IT team, Carmen, Jim, the whole gang, and some of those names may change over the years, but the idea behind our business is to keep innovating. The idea behind our business is to keep growing. And I'm lucky enough that I have teams of partners out there who speak with me on a monthly basis, some of them more regularly than that, some of them a little less regularly. But we look at what's happening on the coalface, what's happening on the day-to-day, and we examine that and come back and say, what do these things mean to us and where does that mean we need to go? But we're pretty... Because of the business we're in, we need to be fairly innovative. We need to continue our evolution as an organization and stay ahead of not just our customers, but stay ahead of the profession, and maybe reinvent the profession time and time again, with changes in things like AI, with changes in technology, with changes in marketing. All these things need to be kept up to date. And that's why when you see what the marketing team does, you'll be pretty impressed by how they keep you ahead of the ball game with both education for your marketing staff and education for you, but also just content and material for you to be able to use out there in the marketplace. So if we just take a look at what happens from here during your discovery, number one is we get to know each other, okay? Not just you getting to know us, which is obviously you can be done here purely on the videos that you can watch and learn and get a feel for who we are. But then we get into some other sections where we do a model review. We take you through toolbox tours where you get to ask questions. You get to meet the local team, the local recruiter, the local CEO of the organization in your area, and other franchise partners as part of that. The CEO's meeting with you will really be a suitability session, finding out if you suit us. The same way you're looking at do we suit you, we look at how do you suit us, and how are you going to add value to our organization, not just the other way around. Meeting our existing franchise partners, anyone that wants to join our company. It's a two-way street. Not only do you get to meet them and ask them questions for yourself, but they ask you questions and feed it back to us about that sort of thing. And then we start the plan and set the dates. It generally takes somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks for us to learn enough about you and for you to learn enough about us to make a decision. That doesn't mean you need to start in 6 or 8 weeks, but you'll make a decision in that time. And really, that decision is this for me? Is this something I want to do with my life? Is this somewhere where I can, see myself actually excelling and doing great work in the market? We'll teach you all the systems. We'll teach you all the how-tos and show you what the investment looks like and become your partner in that investment. But you've got to want to do this. I always say there's one thing that I know means that someone's going to be a success in our organization, and that is that they love what we do and why we do it. They love coaching. They love seeing other people succeed. So, team asked me to ask you these 2 questions for you to ponder prior to you going through to the next phase, and obviously contacting us and giving us your contact details so that we can do this journey together, and watching the rest of these videos so that we can do this journey together and help you with that knowledge base and understanding our business so you can make a great investment decision for you and your family. So number 1 question is, why would you want to be in your own business? A lot of the times, and if you've been in business for yourself before, you've already answered that question. You know the answer to that question, pretty simple. But I meet a lot of people who they want to be in business for themselves, but they've never yet pulled the trigger. And it's like, what? That entrepreneurial desire inside of you is still going to be there. But if you're waiting for the perfect opportunity at the perfect time and it just doesn't happen that way. You stumbled across this right here, right now. This is the time. This is the time for you to take a look at it, make a decision in 6 to 8 weeks, get to know us, we get to know you. And I jokingly say to anyone, if I get to meet you, I'll probably make the same joke because, I'm a dad and dad jokes happen. But I'll make the joke of, I've got you one way or the other. Whether you join our business or whether you start or buy another business, you're either going to become an action coach or you're going to work with an action coach. One way or the other, you're part of our team now. And we want to see you succeed. So that means helping you succeed either in our business or in any other business you're in. If you're working for someone else right now and you want to grow as an executive, then come hang out with us. We can coach you in that area there and you can learn a bit more about it. If you're running your own business right now, come hang out with us. Come get a coach and learn about it. But being in business for yourself, and you can watch, I've done plenty of videos on this on my YouTube channel about being an entrepreneur versus being an employee, my reasoning for it. But again, that's a decision the team asked me to get you to ponder. The second is, why would you want to be a part of a franchise? And I'll go more into that as we go into these videos. But ultimately, I love franchising. I love having partners. I love having partners who want to succeed and partners who want to run an area of the business in the world with us. I think it's a really important thing to understand. But ultimately, these 2 questions are what the team asked me to get you pondering. I guess my question would be is, do you love helping other people succeed? So finally, your own coaching firm and building your own business success. Yes. For some people, when I'm chatting with them, it's like, okay, it's time to stop making money for everyone else and it's time to stop making money for yourself, building other people's assets, build your own asset type thing. Well, the next video, I'm going to take you through the structure of the firm, how the firm works, what are the product offerings, how do you do that? Then we're going to take a look at the marketing and the technology and the sales system. I don't really call it a sales system. It's a coaching system where you onboard customers into the business. But these are the things you're going to learn. I'm looking forward to taking you through them, and I'm hoping that if you haven't yet, dive onto that website, take a look at more things, watch some more videos, some learning stuff on my YouTube channel, go through that culture statement and the mission statement, and really just get to know who we are and why we do what we do, and understand more about us here at Action Coach. We can't wait for you to join the team if it's the right place for you to be. Anyway, I'll see you on the next video.